Good morning, Hickory, Sunrise Rangers. Practice that a little bit. If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think Phil. Richard, can you?
I will. Good morning, dear Heavenly Father, and thank you for this day. Thank you, dear Lord, for all this around these tables, that we help all those that need help, dear Lord, about service above self. Be with all of us this day, dear Lord, and guide us and keep us in true faith. For all this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Good morning, Lieutenant.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Wayne.
Yes, sir. Good morning. All right. Several things this morning, and I'm going to get my notes last night, but anyway, there's a few things I need to bring up. First of all, I want to give the club the opportunity for confession this morning. It's called confession time. Anything that you want to bring up, you can do. It'll cost you $1, but you have the floor. Now, first of all, Reinhardt has an announcement, which he will be excused. Okay. If you don't talk too long.
We have the rotary cups to use in your vehicles or on your desk or however you choose. They cost us 80 cents with shipping and everything. So when you put them in, put an extra buck in just to cover the cost of the cups, and we'll have that handled. That's basically it.
Okay, good deal. All right, any confessions? Here's one, confession time. You can put $1 on the table, so you have an opportunity.
I put $2. Oh, I'm shocked. First of all, I'm shocked that Reinhardt finished that quick. If I had another call, I'd give it to you.
All right.
Honestly, I have to give some honor to one of my fellow Rotarians and my brother. This young man here, I took my car to him. He fixed it.
He did.
But not only did he fix it, he put it back to his running like it's brand new. So I told I'd have to tell you. So all those coupons that he gets and stuff, thank y'all for paying for my repairs.
Good deal. You already put the $1 in.
Right. Now, I have something else that
All right.
I need. What I did, somebody invited me to CBCC to speak. And I went and spoke to some 9th graders. And people found out that I was speaking there, right?
Yes.
And because the person invited me, the person got a promotion because they found out he knew me. I think that he should put some money in the pot. Somebody should, because he owes me money for his promotion.
Well,
Anybody who'd like to speak up on that can.
All right, I'm waiting for confession. All right, here's confession. Wait a minute.
Congratulations.
I need $1 from you just because he's making a confession.
Oh.
All right.
You got a whole stack of them.
I'm ready. All right, now, Ryan, you have an announcement this morning.
Yes, I'm really excited. I'm going to be the new principal at Clyde Campbell Elementary. I also.
All right. The question. Service above self. Pictures in the paper. What do you think?
First, let me ask you a question. Are you getting paid? Service above.
All right, service above self.
Give me $1.
All right, I'm waiting for a comment. Is that service above self?
I guess.
I guess. All right, $1 goes into the pot. Okay. It goes into the pot. Now,
I'll have to owe you two.
here is another statement. Okay, confession time.
I don't guess I have to anymore.
Richard Tucker made a comment this morning. I am shocked. I am shocked. We have
Richard said?
Yes.
Why were you shocked?
He said that lying preacher.
Oh.
Oh, that hurt. That gets the money. I need $1.
No, the truth is the truth.
It can't be the word
He
lying.
told me that he was going to have the Humane Society. Oh, sorry.
Sound like a lawyer. All right, I need $1 from you. Oh, grief. All right.
Give everybody $1 so he can clear my
$1.
Boy, you know she holds on to that. All right. here is something happened. I will confess to this. Two things I need to do. One, I was at the farmer's market 2 weeks ago, coming from the farmer's market, and we had a Rotarian that run up to me and said, hey, I need $1. My wife's buying something, she doesn't have the money. Here, started giving out the $1. Told his wife, he said, now this is what this guy does at Rotary. He takes her money. I need $1 from you. Good grief.
That was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. Oh, good. I'll
That's
get
$2
changed.
there.
All right, I'll get changed. Now, there's
Yeah, but
another.
she already knew him. She heard me talking about him.
This place is unreal, unreal. All right, one other item, I will confess. Okay, wait a minute. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. I have a new grandbaby, up at 19.
Cool.
His name is Aaron Cooper Smith. We're gonna call him Ace.
Ace.
That's good enough, I tell you what. All right.
Yo, what's up, Ace?
Makes sense. All right, the last item. All right, I did this. I had a butt call. You know what a butt call is?
Yes.
Yeah. Phone Richard Tucker. I got him on the line, and Richard was very nice. I had to explain, I was really trying to clear out some phone calls that I had, and somehow Richard's phone rang. I couldn't cut it off fast enough. Richard answered the phone, so I apologize for bothering you, but I will pay a $1 fine for that. Okay.
Well, at least he answers the phone. Some
He
people
answers,
don't
he does
matter about
answer,
the
he does.
time.
Yeah, and some people block you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for
I
that.
did not do that, but anyway.
All right, Ryan, it's all yours this morning. Congratulations.
Will you get this group under control?
I'll try.
All
It's a
right,
hard job.
here we go.
Well, Glenn, I think you've got the,
I do, yes, and as Richard was about to say, if we'll have about 20 seconds of black screen there, but anyway, on that, I don't want to say it on camera, but I had an alternative program, and he didn't think it was very good, so he suggested that I talk a little bit about myself, so, well, they still hear it, though, that's the problem, so, anyway, so I did, I acquiesced, and that means I gave in, by the way. So, and decided to talk a little bit about myself reluctantly, because this is a really, as you know, Dr. Toy and Ron and some of you new folks, Ryan, this is a rough group, right, Roger? And so,
Yes.
any information you share will be definitely used against you later in some type of court or anything. So anyway, I do this with great risk, but since we have some new folks and maybe some of the old folks don't know me and maybe don't care to, but here you're going to find out a little bit about me. So today, whether you like it or not, but I appreciate the opportunity to do it. Basically, I'm a lifelong resident of Hickory, and my family goes kind of way back in this area, but nevertheless, I'm married with 6 children, actually. I was going to say 2. Most families have the 2 and the white picket fence. We have 6, and no fence. But anyway, been married about 26 years. But having grown up in this area, it was nice for Phil to take time to share with us some of the old landmarks, for those of you who were here that day. It was kind of nice having grown up in this area, and I'm not quite as old as some of you. But
Are you an old landmark?
do what?
Are you an old landmark?
No, I'm not an old landmark, but one of the old landmarks I'm not sure we mentioned was the Crown Cinema 6. Do you remember the 6-plex? We called it the Barn, over off of 70. There's nothing there anymore. Actually, the Hickory Daily Record, if you go in their archives, you'll find that they did a piece on that building, because one of its claims to fame, among, I don't know, others, was that many folks met their wives there. And I'm one of them. I was working there, my wife was working there, and there were actually 3 or 4 couples I recall, who maybe you knew Tommy Scarborough. I don't know if you knew him at the sheriff's office, but he and Alice Gentry met there. I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure if she's still practicing law here in town. What's her name? Anyway, 3 or 4, at least 3 or 4 couples met there and subsequently got married. As far as I know, everyone's still married. I know I am, as far as I know. But the Crown Cinema 6, wow, it was just a great place to work, and had a great time there, and just lots of memories. So when Phil took time for that,
Were you there when they showed the movie Tron?
No.
I was there to see it.
Really? Yeah, we affectionately called it the barn, because what, it originally started out as a twoplex, I believe, or a fourplex, in response to the terraces, what we called aquariums. For those of you who remember the round, terrace was in the mall, the old Catawba Mall, and then it moved out and built the two round. It was round in the middle and then the two round theaters, and then so the Crown, in response to that, added two theaters as an afterthought. We called it the barn. It was like a maze. I don't know if you remember anybody that used to go to the movies there, but we met there, and we've been married 26 years. Actually, I hired her. I was a relief manager and was filling in for some of the full-time people because I was in college at the time. They were owned by the Litchfield Company, which still, I think, has the properties down toward Litchfield, or they call it, down toward South Carolina way. But they used to own a series of theaters across the South. And I actually had a chance to go in the management program and was promised a theater if I left college. And it was a good thing I didn't, because United Artists then bought them out a short time later. Then United Artists went defunct. But anyway, AMC, I don't know who owns them now. It's now the, 27-plex out there. I don't know how many they got. But anyway, that was a lot of fun growing up. And so I appreciate Phil doing that. Thank you, Phil, for taking the time to do that. But that's some of the memories and having grown up around here. I'm sure that we all have them, but I went to Appalachian State. My wife Keisha went to Appalachian State, so we're grads from ASU. I've got an undergraduate degree in criminal justice, a minor in philosophy of religion. I got my master's at App in public administration with a justice administration concentration. Since then, with Richard, completed the 4.5-year program of commissioning for lay ministry at Concordia University, Mequon. And then since then, I got a graduate education certificate in criminal justice from East Carolina. So a lot of education there, but our claim to fame now is we have 5 at App. My son just started here in the fall, so I had to count that again, but 5 students at Appalachian State in the fall. No more harping about college or, yeah. So I can't print them. Well, anyway, the camera's running. So nevertheless, we managed to get by, and so we're real proud of that. My wife's dad went there, and his dad went there, so we've got kind of a lineage there at Appalachian State. It's yet to be determined if little Lucy will go there. She still has a few years to decide, although I believe her fate may be sealed as a mountaineer. But during the time at App, any App grads in here? Okay, so go Mountaineers. All right. So was it called Teachers College when you were there, Wayne? I'm not sure.
Yes, it started. Then it was first. I was first class to graduate EDS.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. I have quite a number of colleagues, by the way, at Mitchell, where I teach, who are working on their EDS and their doctorates in education. So there are a lot of different tracks for that. But did he get $5 for that? Because I think he claimed that. Yeah.
He's already.
Yeah. But anyway. I had served on the judiciary for 4 years at App and graduated as the Chief Justice, kind of worked my way up. We had a student judiciary. It was similar to the Supreme Court of the U.S. Students got in trouble, they came to us. So I spent time in student government all 4 years there, and then finished up at grad school. I've got 10 years experience in loss prevention. It's really ironic. I part-time helped open that Super K, and then I helped close it. It lasted 10 years out there. Now there's a shoe rack or something in its place, but that was fascinating. All the while I was waiting to get into probation. I also worked with Diane Smith. Steve, maybe you remember Diane Smith down in Newton. One of the brightest, smartest women I've ever met in my life, and she taught me more in 3 years than I learned in all my college years about court systems and how to manage files and track paperwork, and just, I thank her. She's deceased, but I thank her for a lot of the experience and information I learned, at least about the Catawba County court system. I learned so much from her because she had been in a long time prior. But I was a pretrial assistant coordinator in the old repay days for 3 years down in the courthouse in Newton, and then was probation officer about 14 years here in Catawba. Well, actually collectively Catawba, Gaston, Lincoln. Served in 3 different counties during that time. Was appointed magistrate here in Catawba for almost 5 years, but then got the opportunity to teach at Mitchell. And so I took it, no 12-hour nights and weekends on call, Christmas, and separated parents in the police department lobby over custody, on Thanksgiving Day when all the courts are closed and no longer to their phones. It's really a sad situation sometimes. So So I teach at Mitchell, full-time there. This will be my 7th year. Criminal justice, political science, and I volunteered to teach the college transfer success curriculum, which is ACA 122, so I've been doing that since it started at Mitchell. But I also teach part-time at CBCC. I taught there a while back, now I'm back again, and this is my 2nd year teaching there. Actually, we start the 12-week flex tomorrow class. I gotta remember to be there. So anyway, I've always enjoyed teaching. I've always enjoyed working in quote-unquote the system, but I always felt like a call to serve people, and so no matter what position I had, I always tried to serve folks as fairly and equitably as possible, no matter who they are. And so having worked with Richard for, I don't know how long we've known each other, but we're like, I can say we're brothers even though we're diversely different. But we work together in church work, and I say that in a good way. He reminds me, okay, that we're very different. Yeah. So,
You should both be proud of that.
we are. I don't know. I'm not sure how to take that, but nevertheless, we've been in church work together most of our adult lives. Of course, he's much, much older than I, but we've been to Moldova together, twice, and I know he shared a lot about that. I won't rehash that, but we've got great stories from that, experiences. But there's always been a desire to be in church work, so I guess, what was it, 2007, you and I entered in Concordia University's distance, for lack of a better term, lay ministry preparation program, and after 4.5 years of cussing, fussing, and going to class and sleeping through class on my part, because I was a magistrate during that time, so if I worked 12 and came in and sat for 8 during class, I would be over there asleep, and he always made fun of me, but did not understand. I just worked 12 hours. But anyway, so I know, isn't it awful the way we treat each other, but of course we love each other as brothers, so it's all in fun. But I would just say that once we completed that, the more and more we got involved, the more and more there were needs in the area with our churches. So what started out to be to help pastors with some of their duties at the current church became going everywhere. And that's pretty much what we did. Vacancies started coming open, and people retiring, and people taking calls and leaving, and smaller churches particularly don't have the money to attract a seminarian with over $100,000 of debt in the family. They just weren't being serviced. So long story short, he and I were colloquized at the same time, meaning we just went through the process of ordination, alternative path of ordination, which is not easy in our Synod, by the way. The Missouri Synod is not one that will, the Spirit called me, I'm going to preach, okay, you can preach. They are very, very rigorous in their, which you're asking, how did we get through? But anyway, I don't know still yet to this day. I'm pretty sure how you got through, but I'm not sure about me, so the good Lord was watching out. But anyway, nevertheless, so I've been sort of attracted to church work. I served St. Luke's Lutheran now for 3 years already, down in Lincoln Center, Pumpkin Center, as they affectionately call it, formerly War Bank, and there's a lot of history there about that. But so that's really a privilege for me to do that. So so my background is pretty mixed, pretty varied. Not the traditional background in criminal justice, but I do want to say that one of the claims to fame for me is that about 1.5 years after I left the probation department down in Lincoln County, my former chief called me and he said, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" Because I thought, oh my, the DA subpoenaed me to come back and testify on a case that I had 2 years ago, which it happens periodically. It would happen every now and again. You get a phone call. Usually the DA would call and say, "Hey, look, it's a case you had 2 years ago. They found this person and now they're contesting the charges. Will you come back?" And sure, you bet. I did the file. So anyway, no, we raided a house on a well-known drug street. I had several probationers on that street, and it was well known for drug activity and other types of larceny type activities, but mainly drugs. And they said, well, we raided this place, and it was the sheriff's office and some other agencies went down there and intentionally hit some homes, and one of them happened to be one of a probationer. They recovered a cache of CDs that had been done, what they believed to be quite professionally in the Charlotte area, but never could really determine. And he says, one of the songs is about you. I said, "You're kidding." He said, "No, it's a rap song and you're in it." I said, "Okay, who produced it? I want some royalty here." But they actually named me and another probation officer who worked that area and had people on that street in the song. And so that's a claim to fame. I'm going to try to play it. here before we finish. But I will caution you, there is foul language in it. So if you don't want to hear that, then I'll, close your ears. So they sent that to Raleigh and to Asheville, and they used it in some training. I don't know why or how they used it in training, but that's what he said. So I don't know if they're still doing it to this day. But I'm pretty sure, besides me and Chris White, there's no one else in the state who had a rap song named after him. So, or actually we're in the rap song. It's called the P.O. Rap. But it's actually, I'm not joking. And it's great. He actually had the CD. I wanted a CD, so I could say, it didn't have any pictures of people on it. It just had like some artwork or something. So no names. It was just songs listed, names of songs. And so, but it's been done professionally, and I was actually pretty impressed. So anyway, I could go through all kinds of stories about probation, being a magistrate. One interesting thing in the state of North Carolina, magistrates are the only civil authority that can marry you. Unless the legislature passes as part of a piece of legislation the authority for, say, a district court or superior court judge to conduct a marriage, the legislature has to do that. The magistrate's the only 24/7, 365 civil official, civil I said, that can marry people in North Carolina. And so consequently, there are a few times in my career where I married the couple on Thursday and set their bond on Sunday. I'm not joking. Yeah, I'm not kidding. You remember me? You remember us? You married us Thursday. And I said, oh, man. So anyway, you really find, and I'm sure Steve has many stories himself he could share through his years as a police officer, but certainly as a probation officer, having been in people's homes and being pretty much in their lives, because that was our job to check on them and monitor on behalf of the court. And then certainly as a magistrate, a lot of challenging things. Sometimes funny, sometimes you don't know when to laugh or cry, because if you've not been in the system, you have no idea what's going on with people. You just don't. You have absolutely no clue whatsoever. And some of the things you would see and hear and experience, is this real? I'd have to occasionally ask an officer or a trooper or a fellow, is everything okay with me? Am I normal? Because, people are like, we're having fun here, we're going to jail together, even though we just got married Thursday, it's like, who thinks like that? But anyway, I'm not kidding, it's just amazing how people, and it's not a dig on people, it's just people come from various backgrounds and experiences. And as I teach my students, when you're dealing with different backgrounds and experiences, you need to be even-tempered, professional. And so I try to instill that in all my students who are going out in the field, is that you're really going to see some difficult things. You can't take things personally, follow the letter of the law, sometimes exercise discretion and compassion, but at the end of the day, go home safely and be content that you've done a good job and have done the best that you can. So anyway, there are so many things I could say. I'll take any questions. I don't want to belabor this, but
what exactly is I'm not familiar with it. What is a magistrate in comparison to, say, a judge? Or?
Justice of the peace. So if you've ever been in a state where they call them Justice of the Peace, in North Carolina we have the Administrative Office of the Courts, which attempted to professionalize the court system, organize it, set consistent standards across the state as to how all 100 counties would operate. The magistrate is a constitutionally established position in the state. When there were some reforms in the state regarding the court system, and then the AOC came into what administrative courts came to be, then later began to quote-unquote professionalize the office of magistrate. Essentially, the magistrate is a political appointment.
Is it a county position?
No, state. See, you are nominated by the clerk of court.
In your county?
Nominated by the clerk of court in your county. You are appointed by the senior resident superior court judge of your county, and you're supervised by the chief district court judge of your county. So your initial appointment is for 2 years unless you are serving an unexpired term, which is what happened to me. A guy passed away, maybe you knew Charlie Whitley, passed away sitting in his chair in the office at the police department. Sad. Wonderful guy, I knew him. And basically, applications were open. I applied, got a phone call and said, and the rest was history. So I filled out Charlie Whitley's unexpired term of appointment. Typically, it's a 2-year initial appointment, no guarantees. 2 years you could be gone, then they're 4-year appointments. In North Carolina, the magistrate's position is one of the few positions that's not only established by Constitution, but the salary is established by statute. So if you go in the North Carolina statute book, you'll see the salary scale for magistrates. Clerks, I think, are that way, and Highway Patrol, I think, is still that way. I'm not sure. The magistrates and the Highway Patrol file class action lawsuits against the state because one of the reasons why I left is the ARC is really weird on how they calculate experience. Even though I came in with a lot of years' experience with the state of North Carolina in that appointment, they didn't recognize any of it because I didn't do it with them. See, and so I started out as a buck private, so to speak, as a trainee. Even though I've got a master's and all these years of experience, I was getting paid really we were 48, a study was done, and this was, good gosh, 7, 8 years ago. We were 49th out of 50 in overall pay for judicial employees. So if you start out at the bottom and you're 48th or 49th out of 50 in pay, but it was the best job I ever had. I loved it to death, but I also had a family to feed. And the idea was, the calculation was that based on the statute, if the budget followed the statute and they were funded, then my steps would get me back very quickly to where I lost, and then I would surpass that and end up retiring with a pretty decent salary. Well, 5, 6 years of no funding for our step pay, even though it's statutorily mandated. It's in the statute that you got. Well, the people that make the laws can certainly amend them, and so for actually it was about 3.5, almost 4 years, because I left at the 5-year point. I couldn't take it anymore. They were freezing it 1 more year, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't be stuck at this salary. So I reluctantly was able to get into this. Someone had called me and said, hey, Mitchell's hiring a position and you would fit perfectly. So long story short, got in over there, and my pay, believe it or not, went up substantially, even though they hired me at the lower level because I didn't have any educational experience. I taught at CVCC, you see, for off and on as an adjunct, but I hadn't been a full-time faculty member. They did a study and found that a handful of people on staff there were being underpaid, and I was one of the people, so I ended up getting $50 a month more out of it. So thank you. I'll take the 50. So
the 2-year appointment is basically political patronage, right?
If you want to be frank about it, it's basically, yeah.
Okay, but then the 4-year, is that also patronage, or is that?
Yeah, it could be, as long as you do a good job. See, there's been an unwritten rule in this county generally that no matter what party you're with, if you're doing a good job and there's no issue, you're not to be removed. And that has been the rule for as long as it goes way back.
Don't touch mine, I won't touch yours.
Exactly. It's been no matter who the clerk is, no matter who the Superior Court judges are, no matter who the Chief District, there's been an unwritten rule that's been followed forever, as long as I know, that goes back. As long as I've been able to find someone alive that knows the system, that's the unwritten rule. So, but when you take that appointment, you may not get reappointed in 4 years. Chances are, if you didn't screw up or really, go in and go crazy in the office, and it's rare that you would be removed. But we got no vacation time. You got no sick time, but I still accrue time in the state retirement system. Yeah.
Back to App State, Jamie Mays was your roommate?
He was my roommate. James Mays and I were roommates. If any of you know Jamie Mays, we were roommates.
He's a heck of a teacher too.
Wonderful guy. He was on the Alexander Central football team. He had come off the football team and came in as a freshman, and met him and several other fellas that had been on the football team there at Alexander Central and were coming up to App. But James and I were roommates for at least 2, maybe 3 years. I can't remember.
He claims you, that's why I wondered.
Yeah, wonderful guy. He, 10 years ago, won Teacher of the Year.
He was Teacher of the Year by national recognition, yeah.
Yeah, super guy. I don't know where he is now. We've kind of fallen out of touch, but just, you couldn't have found a nicer guy, great family, just the people were just wonderful, wonderful guy. So I wish him continued success, but yes, as far as I know, he's still teaching, but I don't know where.
Well, he hadn't been in the county alternate school program.
Yeah, he was right over there where the salt block used to have the.
Well, that's when he was with me, but then he went with them to Conover.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where he is now, but just a wonderful guy. Yeah, we were roommates for at least 2, maybe 3 years. I think I lived off campus 1 year, so, but then came back.
Good man.
So, are there any other questions? We got 5 girls and 1 boy. I have twin girls, identical. And believe it or not, they're dating twin boys who are identical.
Oh!
Yeah, that they met up at App. So, I never would have thunk that. Yeah, so, any questions, or, I know, Ron, you had some, maybe I answered them already yet, but that's kind of what I do. I've been known to cut a yard or two on the side when I'm not sleeping. So yeah, been doing that for many years. Bob left, but he razzes me about my price, but I don't charge anything what he charges, so. Amen over there, Michael? Yeah, it just, yeah, your car got fixed, but you, right, take care of it. So any other, I'll play this song. Again, I caution you, there's foul language in it, so if it's not appropriate, or if we, I won't play it, but I can't say that's a claim to fame for me.
Let's hear it.
Should we switch, if there's foul language, should we switch the camera?
I can't beep it out, because I don't know how.
I'm all right with it.
Can't hurt.
And the speaker's not gonna work, so unfortunately, I'll have to probably move it closer to you. Of course, I had it pulled up. Track shoes on. Somebody said that made that put a hit out on me. Sounds pretty good, don't it? I don't like that kind of music. I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, except for the foul language.
Well, it tells me you were doing your job.
I'm glad you had your rain shoes on and
Yeah. Well, I asked a couple of guys, what does that mean to get your track shoes on? They said that means to put a hit on you. And I was like, oh wow, that's great. So anyway, thank you, and again, apologies for the.
Thank you for doing that. I knew that you were a instructor at Mitchell College, but I didn't know all the everything else that you've done in your background. So I think it's good that we share that, learn about each other. But thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I know that it's talking about announcements. Does anybody have announcements that they want to share?
I just have one thing. Did everybody get the poster and the ticket? Because if there's any changes that y'all see need to be done, I need to do it today, because I'm gonna print the tickets tomorrow.
Did you get my little
Yes,
thing that I
ma'am.
put in that?
I'll
Just
put that
a
on.
little blurb. like-
I'll put that on there, and also I had a question about the DJ, and Bob answered the question, there's not gonna be a DJ. So the other thing is, it also has on there about a costume contest. Do I need to leave that on there and take it off, or are we having a costume
I
contest?
think we decided we weren't.
Yeah, I think we said we would.
Okay, I'll leave that on there.
And as far as the silent auction goes, again, people people on video who have things to give, make sure you have to tell what it is, what its net value is, retail value would be, so that it gets to Kenny and to Rick, and so that fulfill that's ready when the bidding starts and they can make up the bid sheets. So we need to make sure we're ready for that.
I got one item and I emailed it to Phil.
Okay, that'll do.
So far.
Food, Richard, we're gonna barbecue through you,
Supposedly.
okay? And we still haven't decided anything about the sides, have we?
No.
Okay, so we need to make sure we cover that by next week, because we gotta get that underway to make sure that, it's ready by, what, the 11th? Okay. Okay,
And what about the proceeds, whether on the post or whatever, should we say where the proceeds are going, or do we know where they're going?
I think we had said we wanted to put to the benefit of education. We weren't gonna specifically say the scholarship program, but to benefit,
I won't put all proceeds, I'll just put proceeds.
proceeds to benefit, yeah.
Did you base it on the previous poster? Because we had wording on that. I don't remember what it was, but it might be just.
I'll look and see.
Okay.
A lot of that stuff is dated, we go through and delete. Because you have no idea some size of the files we get.
You want us to bring those back each week?
When your cups get full, come empty them. Again, as far as the cups go, if you can put an extra buck in over the next couple rounds, that'll pay for the cups. We'll have that covered.
And these are 80 cents a piece?
These are 80 cents a piece, right? 50
You're
cents for
paying
the
on
cup.
something like that, paying for setup.
$7.64 for transportation to get them here, but we can get more for less, I think. The guy who does it is Screen Print in Aiken, and he's a past district governor, $76.60. A word of encouragement. We had a personal phone call with Rob Conrad and talked at length. He will be paying his 4 weeks or 4 period dues, and he is watching videos. And he had just gotten inundated with so much Rotary stuff that he just quit looking. And he is now going to do the videos, and he will look for Glenn's emails. But what it brings to mind is a personal phone call goes a long way to bridging a fellowship gap. If you have a former member like Rob Luckadoo or somebody like that, call them, say hey, let them know we know they exist and that we miss them, and we would be surprised what it would do for our club and for our fellowship.
Well, if Rob is watching the video, it would be nice to see him again.
Yes, it will indeed be nice to see him again. And I think we made that clear to him, so, yeah. That's basically it. Preparation for the dance, guys. Be ready, be full, and get her done.
Any other announcements?
With Steve Hunt not here, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?